Hello, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm doing great. We're back. We're here to talk about more posters. Thank you for tuning in today. We're going to talk about a new auction that we've got going on. It'll be live until Tuesday, November 21st at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And this is a really cool, unique collection. It focuses heavily on posters by the late, great Frank Kozik, but also a lot of other really great artists and bands, and primarily items from the early 90s to the early 2000s, but we've got some stuff from the 70s and 80s mixed in there too. And we're just going to go through a whole bunch of posters, mostly covering different eras of punk rock and alternative music from the 80s to the 90s. So we've got some great stuff to show you. And we've got a great starting point right behind you there.
Well, yeah, it seems if we're talking about punk rock, we got to start with the Mount Rushmore of punk rock, which is this guy clearly, James Newell Osterberger Jr., the
Yes.
one and only Iggy
Pop.
Pop, who was in the Detroit scene in the late '60s, played the Grandy Ballroom all the time. One of these pivotal figures who was known for outrageous behavior on stage, and really carried the thing to New York, where the whole New York punk scene flourished out of. And his well-known association with drugs and David Bowie sort of formed a lot of his outlook on life. But yeah, just one of those pivotal characters in this whole game.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of Iggy Pop posters that are pretty cool. The one that you're looking at right now is from 1988 in Nashville with Jane's Addiction as a supporting act. And Iggy Pop, was always releasing music, and he released his album Instinct just earlier that year, I believe. Great classic looking Iggy Pop image right there. I've never seen this poster before. It's pretty cool. I would definitely check it out if you're into that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
then,
and the quality of these posters is all really, really fresh. It's just
Mhm.
really wonderful stuff. And if you need images, anything from us to help you with the decision, let us know.
And moving right along to 2 years later, this is Iggy in 1990 playing it in Hollywood, correct?
Yes,
That is a Kozik piece that is signed by Kozik, correct?
correct. Yeah, this is one of the focuses, many focuses of this sale, and yeah, this is just a great, wonderful piece. Iggy Pop in green.
Shirtless Iggy. There's pretty much no other way to put him on a poster, I think.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing with the day glow and all of that. And since we're talking about Frank, who left us earlier this year, I want to pop to one of his other very, very cool posters in the sale, which is
We're going to divert from punk just for a second, but I think that there is a case to be made for George Clinton being a very punk motherfucker.
so influential in so many different genres. I mean, started in like doo-wop in the late '60s, and then yeah, created this whole Parliament and Funkadelic thing, which influenced hip hop, funk, everything. Yeah, punk. He's certainly punk attitude. I mean, Clinton is the man. He's still got this thing on the road, the P Funk All Stars, which Parliament and Funkadelic, there was all this history and confusion along the years, but they were just responsible for putting on one of the best shows too. And it's they would bring in local musicians. It was a revolving stage, 3 hour plus performances, and known also for one of the greatest guitar solos of all time, which Maggot Brain is like the guitar solo. Eddie Hazel was the guitar player who put that down, and it's still like, jam band aside, it's one of the best, longest guitar solos ever. Go check it out if you've not.
It,
And
Definitely.
yeah, the day glow pink and green, solid
Mint
poster.
condition again. Is that one signed as well?
It is.
Beautiful.
All right, moving on.
Moving on to yet another Kozik. This one I just kind of wanted to talk about because it's one of my favorite bands. This is Pixies in 1990 in Ventura, also signed by Kozik. Pixies are a really interesting band. Their initial run was pretty short. They were together for like a decade-ish. The year that this show happened, was after they released their album Doolittle, which is one of the ones that is like regarded as, the best or one of the two best Pixies albums. And this was the year that, there was tension with Kim Deal and Black Francis, the two songwriters, and Kim Deal went and formed her own band, The Breeders, that year. Another one of my favorite bands. We don't see Pixies posters very often, so I thought it was just a cool thing to check out for a second. And it is also mint condition and beautiful, and just a nice.
The monkey with the fez, with a leopard print fez, a monkey with a leopard print fez. I mean, what more do you need? What more do we need to
The
say?
Ramones. You can't
The
talk about
Ramones.
punk rock without talking about the Ramones. And this is another Kozik. This one is also from 1990, which you could argue is late in the Ramones' career, but they still actually played for another 6 years together and released 3 more albums. And that has Debbie Harry and Jerry Harrison and the Tom Tom Club on it as well.
That's a pretty solid lineup. Tom Tom Club was an offshoot of Talking Heads, and yeah, this is a solid poster. Irvine Meadows. This is the Ramones. How can you refute anything?
Exactly. And again, Ramones posters not terribly common in what we see because,
there's a lot of them.
There, yes. And, something as mint condition and great looking as that, I think it's actually a proof, right?
Yeah, it's the printer's proof. You can see the lines for the cuts. Yeah, it's a solid piece.
Yeah, punk history. We love it. And then this is another one that I, thought could be interesting to look at. Just while we're talking about punk history, you can't really ignore NoFX. They, have been around since the 80s, but they really started kind of gaining prominence in the 90s when they put out this album called Punk in Drublic. They were a big part of this like renewed interest in punk in the 90s, and they're still together, but they're doing their final tour after 40 years of being a band. So their time is also coming to an end. And while it may not be, everyone's favorite flavor of punk, they're still really important to the history of the genre. And this is a pretty good looking piece. I like it.
Yeah, it's a solid poster, and then again, undamaged. Also in the sale on the same sort of track is we have a couple of European subway posters that do reasonably well on our sales. So this one, of course, one of the great punk rock bands of all time, The Clash.
Yeah, this one's amazing because it's The Clash, but also this was just a couple months after London Calling. So this is like prime Clash era, them playing in Germany. And it's beautiful condition.
Yeah, this is, what is it, 1980?
Yes, 1980 in Hamburg.
Yeah, this subgenre of European and German subway posters is something that is really growing in our auction. So I expect this piece to do really well.
Yeah, that's not an opportunity you'll get every day, to get a Clash poster from right around London Calling in great condition with that amazing shot of them right there.
This is a beaut. And to wrap it up, we have another one of these for a band that Katie is most fond of.
The Cramps.
Ew.
So it's a similar style of poster. It's from 1990 in Hamburg. Also beautiful, great pictures of all of the band. the Cramps are cool. They're different from a lot of the bands of that era. They were, you know, psychobilly. And they were together until 2009. But at this time they just put out their album Stay Sick, which might be my favorite Cramps album. So it's a good era to have memorabilia of them from. And it's just a beautiful poster with that great logo right there.
Yeah, that's a beauty. That is fun. So, I mean, these are just a few highlights, and it's an exciting sale, more than we could cover even with the multitude of pieces we have here. So check it out. It's, you know, a really solid sale. Everything's in solid condition, and yeah, it's worth your glance, even if this isn't the focus of your collecting.
And again, that'll be live until Tuesday, November 21st at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Get bitten now. We'll see you soon.
Thanks all.